This video is about how to use the Posey bed alarm. You have the alarm and the sensor pad, and the pad comes with instructions that you can review that are a little more detailed and includes cautions, and you can look over this when you open the pad if you want to. You'll see on the pad itself there are instructions written about how to use the pad if you ever need to look at that. And also notice that it comes with a warning. Caution: do not roll, fold, bend, or crease sensor. Store flat or hang by this hole. And that's because rolling it or folding it will damage the wiring that makes up the sensor inside the pad. And then moving on to the bed alarm itself, you'll see it's got 2 places to plug a sensor pad in, and that's so you can use either 2 in the bed like it shows in the picture, or you can put 1 in the bed and 1 in the chair. And it's got buttons on the side. You've got a microphone over here, and the power button, hold, and then I'll tell you more about these buttons. The buttons are kind of stiff, so you do have to press kind of firmly to make them work. I think maybe that's to keep it from accidentally getting, changed. So, next. A couple other things I want to say about the pad before I move on is that you don't ever want to put restraints over the top of the pad because it's pressure sensitive. If the restraint straps are putting pressure on the pad, it may not alarm when the patient in restraints gets partway out of bed, and then they could be left hanging and possibly strangling with the alarm not even going off. And also the pads are for single patient use. Also, they do expire if they've been in use for 30 days. So either way, when you're finished with them, then just go ahead and throw them away. And next. Also, I want to show you that the batteries are changed here on the side. There's 4 C-cell batteries in here. So just so you know, that's where that's at. Now, so to change the settings, you push the select button to choose one of these fields, these 4 fields to work. It's got 4 different things you can adjust. So we'll start with selecting the volume. It can go from 1 to 10. If I don't, once you push it, you'll see it start flashing. Oops, now I chose the other one. Let's go back to volume. Start with volume. Okay, now the volume's flashing. If I don't do something pretty quickly while it's still flashing, I will lose my opportunity. But we're going to go ahead and keep it down at a low level for the recording of this. Okay, I've got it set at 1 now. Oh no, I've got it set at 10. Let's go back down to 2. Okay, I guess there is no 1. Then we'll go to the next one, the delay. The delay is how many seconds it's going to wait before it starts sounding the alarm. I had it set to 1 because that's fastest for showing you, but you may want to have it set at a low number to just 1 second. If you have a patient or 0 seconds, you can set 0 if you want to be. That would be good for a person who gets out of bed really fast, and you need to get in there right away and know instantly. And then if you have a patient who is fidgety, let's say, and they're sounding the alarm all the time unnecessarily just because they're moving around, you might want to set the delay a little longer so it gives them a chance to settle down back into bed before the alarm decides to sound, and then it will just wait. Okay, and then I picked a song, so I can choose between 1 and 10 songs. And I'm going to go around to one that's a little more calmer. Let's stay with that one. Okay, now we're going to go to voice and tone. Now what that does is it allows you to choose a message. And I already have a recorded message in there. It's not playing it. Sit back down, Grandma. Hey, Grandma, sit back down. Wait for the nurse, Grandma. So you can, and then what happens if it was activated is then it would go into the song that you chose. That's what voice and tone means. And the way to change that, you have it flashing, which I'm going to have to go back around to now. When it's flashing, you can decide between just only the song or the speaking with the song. So those are your two options. Either button, you just toggle back and forth. And then you just leave it flashing. It'll just, if you walk away from it now, it will stay set at these settings that you see right now. After a little bit, it stops flashing. And there's nothing to press to say that you're satisfied with everything. You just walk away when everything reads out what you want it to have. Okay, so I'll move on. Okay, now I want to tell you how to change the message. This can be really handy if you have somebody who speaks Spanish and you want a family member or anybody to speak in Spanish for them on this, or you can customize the message. And what you want to do is make sure that you speak with your mouth close to the microphone, like maybe this far away, to really pick it up. If you're very far away at all, that makes it sound distant, and it doesn't stand out very good for a patient to hear it. So what you do is you press record, and you hold it until you hear a beep. When you keep holding it, and once the beep sounds, you keep on holding it, and you say your message, and you have up to 10 seconds to leave your message. It can be shorter, but when you're done, you just release the record button, and then you can play and listen to it. So I'll try that, but with my voice far away, sort of far away. Here we go. Sit back down. Wait for the nurse. She'll be right in here. Go ahead and sit down and wait. Now we'll play it. Sit back down. Wait for the nurse. She'll be right in here. Go ahead and sit down and wait. Okay. So we have it all set up now, and it's plugged in, and you put it on the patient's bed, and now it's just flashing amber because it's on hold until it becomes activated by pressure. And then once it's activated, you see that it starts flashing green, and that's all good. And then when the patient gets up, sit back down, it stays on green. Wait for the nurse. She'll be right in. And the patient, if they sit back down, then it's still activated. You can see it's still flashing green, and so the alarm will keep working. So they can get up and down, and pressure automatically stops it from alarming, but it also leaves it running. But if we come in and we're coming down the hall and we decide to go ahead and we're going to push it on hold, for the next 30 seconds or so, it's not going to respond. And I just tell you that just in case you wonder what's happening. It doesn't matter. It's actually literally on hold. But if it's after about 30 seconds, then the sensor, the unit rearms itself so that, let's say you've gotten the patient up, you've got it on hold, and now you're taking the patient to the bathroom. By the time you come back from the bathroom, it's rearmed itself so that if the patient sits on the pad again now, that 30 seconds or so is up, and you see how it's gone and reactivated itself. And you didn't have to do a thing. And so that's the reason you want to be real careful to always use the hold button and not the power button. And it's easy to do. I've done it myself to accidentally turn it off. And if it's somebody else's patient and they don't even know that you've turned it off, that could really put the patient in jeopardy. But we all want to remember to use the hold button almost all the time. Only when the patient's really going to be off of it for a long time would you even bother to turn it off. Just use the hold button. So I think that's all I need to say about that part of it. There is one thing I forgot to say earlier that I want to go ahead and throw in here. They recommend that when you first open the pad and get it all set up and you got it on the bed, once you have it ready to go, you do want to check the pad by pressing in various parts of the pad itself and making sure that there aren't any dead zones. And if there are any dead zones with the sensors, then you'll need to replace the pad. Just throw it away and get another one, because if it's damaged, then it may not work when you need it to work.